I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you
Greetings technicians, this is Admin Crow here, your coach of the Toronto Star Raptors, bringing you the battle for another week in the PCL, Season 3 of the Pokemon Champions League. And this week, we are taking on Hussam-sama, the coach of the Damascus Cofagrigus. Hussam-sama is a tremendous battler. He's also one of the coaches last season who went undefeated in the regular season. So me and him haven't really faced off in a league format. The only other time that we played was for my gym leader tryout. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to face him this week. And if you guys want to check out the sets I brought and my game plan going in, feel free to check out the team builder, which I will leave a link down in the description below. So in this video, I'm just gonna cover the battle itself and how I executed the match and how the entire battle turns out. So immediately at team preview, he brought most of the stuff, if not everything that I expected. He did bring that Metagross specifically, probably for my Nihilego and Superior, and Zapdos probably for my Superior as well, and also the Mega Blastoise potentially for Rapid Spin Hazard Control. The only thing I didn't expect, of course, in that Zero Aura, of course, he brought. The only thing that I didn't expect was the Porygon Z. To be completely honest with you guys, I didn't think it would come, and I didn't do any prep for it. And Espeon is also something I expected to come, simply because it gives him a offensive check to Nihilego as well, and also prevents it beats both of my defensive walls, my hazard control being the Klefki and the Gligar. But as Espeon, I did play against a setup variant of Espeon. It doesn't really do too much back to Klefki. Even the best thing he can run for is like Hidden Power Ground or Hidden Power Fire. So I'm just going to jump into the battle. Over here, I believe I did the lead with my keys, which matches out relatively well against everything he wants to bring. I did picture this exact matchup as well, as I am packing a foul play for this Metagross. As you can see over here, it didn't do all that much. Immediately I know that he's a more defensive or lead Metagross, as he busts out the Stealth Rock right here. So my initial idea was I want to get as much damage on this Metagross as possible, as Hussam-sama does not really have a Cleric on his team, and the damage is done. The more I weaken this Metagross, the less of a switching it is to my Nihiligo's Power Gem, which is something that I plan on sweeping with potentially, and he does get up his rocks right here. I'm not as concerned, as I can just go for a second power foul play, as he does hit everything on his roster decently hard. As he hard switched into his Zero Aura, that actually only did 30%. I probably should have calced a little bit more carefully. There's no way that it will do this little unless he's actually a minus attack nature, as he turns out to be after the match, after he showed me his set. But it didn't really matter the damage right here. It would have done high 30 to 40% if he's physically offensive, as I do not have the light screen on my Klefki. It doesn't really matter right here. I believe on the following turn I do go for a Toxic, try to get as much damage on this thing as possible, as I'll just be able to whittle down this thing. As I know that he probably goes for a Volt Switch, I want to gauge what type of set he is, and he very well may go for a knockoff right there as well. That's why I didn't want to go into my Gligar. That was one of the main reasons. As he does go into his Espeon, he actually did a lot of damage with that Volt Switch, Life Orb Volt Switch on that Zero Aura. So it gives me idea that he's more of a especially offensive set for sure. So on the following turn, I'm actually gonna go for the Sunny Day, the heat I was being packing this entire time. So I actually wanted to go into my Volcarona at some point within the next 8 turns, as I am packing the Heat Rock, knowing that there isn't too much this Espeon can do back to me, and I can very well switch into Absol the following turn. He can very well have Dazzling Gleam for the Absol, but it's a really hard read. I don't think he's gonna make that play. This exact scenario also happened in my mock. So I'm just gonna go hard into my Absol right here, as I do knock it out in one hit, but he busts out the Baton Pass. Yes, I prepped for everything but baton pass. So as you guys, some of you guys may or may not know, depends on if you're, you know, in the league or not. In this season, we actually allowed baton pass, and yeah, it's definitely not something on top of my mind when I did the prep. And also the fact that he can use baton pass not only get a slow momentum with his Espeon, but also be able to pass out the Calm Mind. So over here he's in with his Zapdos. I have no idea what this Zapdos can do to me. He literally has coverage for my entire team, because he can pack the Heat Wave and Hidden Power Ice, and plus on top of that I set up the Sun for him. So if he does have the Heat Wave, my superior is definitely not a switch in. So over here I because he's already at +1/+1, my only physical attacker on my roster is actually this Mega Absol. So I was like, oh well, this is perfect. It's not like I have a switch in for this Zapdos, plus I need to find out what set this is, so I have nothing but to go for a knockoff, just try to get as much damage on this thing as possible. As I knock off the Light Clay, he's just going to be able to knock me out with a +1 discharge. So that was really interesting. So the fact that he's Light Clay, I know that he's probably packing one of the screens, if not both. So it's very unlikely that he will have coverage for both my Keys and my Gligar. That's why I went into the Gligar right here, thinking that he might not have Hidden Power Ice. Plus I did the calc right here. If he's Timid Max special attack, I actually only have a 6% chance to get knocked out with my investment even after rocks. So it's a risk I'm willing to take. If he is timid, sorry, if he's modest, I believe that was the calc. If he's timid, he doesn't. It was in my favor to live as well. So that's why I went into my Gligar. That was my idea. I can just go for a slow U-turn or a knockoff right here to be able to get damage on something while getting rid of their item, or be able to get a slow momentum. So as you can see right here, as I believe I do go for the rocks right here, thinking that there's no way the Espeon will come in on the potential knockoff. So he just went hard into his Porygon Z. So to this moment, it still hasn't occurred to me what this Porygon Z wants to do to me. So the first thing that came in my mind is, oh, this thing probably has Ice Beam. That's why he went hard into it, to be able to check my Gligar offensively. But I actually took a really long turn right here, because I do realize that this thing can simply set up either Nasty Plot or Agility, and depends on which move he goes for first. I'm actually in a lot of trouble because I don't have the light screen on my Klefki, and plus it's already weakened from that Zero Aura. And the rest of my mons, Volcarona is going to be taking 50% from rocks, and if this thing does have the Ice Beam, it's going to do. It's probably going to OHKO my Gligar anyways. So I don't really have a choice. If he knocks on my Gligar here with Ice Beam, that's actually the most ideal. Most ideal for me because I get a free switch in and he doesn't get the setup. And if he goes for a Nasty Plot here, I can revenge kill it with my Volcarona, or my Superior, I guess. Just anything, because all my offensive threats does outspeed it naturally. And if he goes for Agility here, which is the worst case scenario, I thought about it. There's literally nothing I can do to prevent it but go for a U-turn. I did think about going for a knockoff to get rid of his item, but I cannot afford to stay in another turn to let my Gligar to let this thing set up in front of my Gligar to get a double dance up. That's why U-turn was definitely my most ideal play. If he wants to go for Ice Beam, I can potentially live and get a slow U-turn off. If he doesn't go for the Ice Beam, I still get to switch anyways. So over here, I do go into my Superior. The rock damage is actually pretty crucial. The first one actually did 45% with his Tri Attack coming off this Porygon Z. Of course, its adaptability boosted. So my Leaf Storm did 52%. That's actually a pretty bulky Porygon Z. But But the thing is, right, it doesn't really matter how much damage I did because it was 2-hit KO on this Porygon Z anyways. So I calc this with 43% left. I actually have a chance to live even if he's max special attack, but it was in his favor to knock me out, as he does do that on the following turn with another trial attack. I am Assault Vest superior, but I don't have enough bulk or HP investment to live another one. So after the game, I did calc that the trial attack on the superior was actually, he got 2 high rolls back to back basically. Even after the first roll of 45%, I still have a chance to live even if he's max special attack. But of course he wasn't, depending, like we can tell from how well he took that Leaf Storm from my superior, right? But in any case, he's just gonna be able to set up again with my nasty plot as I go into my keys and get off a toxic on it. I was trying to stall enough turns so that this Porygon Z will be able to be at a low enough amount of health, and maybe just maybe my Gligar can live one if he is not packing the Ice Beam, which I think at this point he might not be, as he does reveal that he have that nasty plot. He's just going to be able to knock my keys out on the following turn with a trial attack. I believe that turn I did go for a Dazzling Gleam, or a foul play. I think it was a foul play, just so that I can bring this Porygon Z down to a low enough health. But he busts out the Eye of Papa Berry, which is something that I thought about when I was in with my Gligar initially, when I debated between U-turn and knockoff. I thought about he might be a Super Berry set, but then again, I stand by my play where I couldn't really stay in to knock off his item and get a slow U-turn out on the following turn, simply because he can just set up on my Gligar. So yeah, it's pretty much over at this point. I'm just gonna send in my Gligar and hope that I can live a trial attack at +2. But no, it was a roll in his favor and he got the roll again with his investment. But there wasn't too much I can do with my Gligar, even if I live the hit anyways. Maybe I can get a slow U-turn into one of my mons, but because the fact that he outspeed both of my members that I have left, being the Nihilego and Volcarona, he's just gonna claim the clean 6-0 here in the end. So definitely a good game to Hussam-sama, and bringing that Double Dance Porygon Z set definitely caught me off guard. But this is not something I didn't expect, just because the nature of my draft. So in case you guys didn't know, I was actually the top coach. Well, I guess I was voted, not voted, but given the title of the best coach for the previous 2 weeks, for week 1 and week 2, just because of my differential and record wise. And I think I won both week 1 and week 2 4-0, and of course week 3 I end up getting 6-0'd by Hussam-sama. So my nature of my draft, like I said initially in my draft analysis, is hyper offensive. It's a very high risk, high reward type of draft or type of style of play. This is not something I didn't expect when I initially drafted the team. So I either find the opening or be able to set up, or I don't even have to set up, I just put on offensive pressure to break through my opponent's roster, or I get swept like this, because I'm pretty sure out of all the teams in the Origins League, I'm the team with the most vulnerable walls, or I guess the team that's most likely to get swept by. Especially, it's funny because I'm pretty sure, even though I'm the coach with the best record in the first 2 weeks, but I'm also the first coach who got swept 6-0 in week 3. So it's kind of a little bit ironic there. But again, this is the nature of my draft. And I'm just going to tell you guys right now, this is not going to be the first time that this happens this season. So I expect myself to get 6-0 again, if not more than once, sometime later this season, throughout the season, just in general. Because in this battle, I don't think I played poorly or anything. First of all, I didn't prep for Baton Pass, and secondly, there's no way I expected Porygon Z to come. as the moveset he brought were trial attack and side shock, which literally gets hard rolled by Klefki, and even glide guard depending on my set. But of course, those two can't really do too much back to Porygon Z, so it's definitely a very good bring on Hussam-sama's side. But then again, this is not like a battle where I could have won it, but I choked or anything. I don't think I made any poor plays. My only mistake, I believe, was that, well, initially on turn 1 I didn't go offensively into my Volcarona, considering this is the 3rd week where I'm bringing Volcarona but without hazard control. But that's not a major mistake in my opinion, because I was gonna try to get up rocks myself anyways and have him defog away the rocks or just pressure him from rapid spinning. But I don't think I made any crucial mistakes in this match. My only major mistake, I would say, is that I didn't make any plays. So I can't really play safe with the draft that the roster that I drafted. So I pretty much had to make plays during both week 1 and week 2 in order to put myself in such a good advantage against both Jam and Paluki, which are two of the, I guess, very good players in the league, of course. Just because I was being able to 4-0 them in the end doesn't mean that they're a bad player or they played poorly or anything of the sort. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. Hopefully the Raptors will be able to bounce back on the following week. So this is going to be Admin Crow here, signing off. Goodbye, technicians.